I never thought a simple bet could change my life. It started innocently enough, my sister laughing, tossing a playful challenge at me across the kitchen table. "I bet I can turn you into my twin for a whole day," she said, smirking. I laughed, shaking my head. "Yeah, right. That's impossible." She grinned wickedly. "Oh, you're on." I didn't know that those words would mark the beginning of the most surreal, thrilling, and terrifying day of my life. The morning started like any other, but my sister had other plans. I woke up to the sound of giggles and rustling clothes. When I opened my bedroom door, she was standing there with a pile of dresses, shoes, and accessories that could have filled a boutique. "Come on, twin," she said, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Time to start the transformation." I froze, half laughing, half panicking. "Wait, what? This is a joke, right?" "No joke," she said, grabbing my wrist and dragging me toward my closet. "First, the outfit. You're going to wear my favorite dress. Trust me, it'll fit perfectly." I stared at the dress she held up. It was soft pink, silky, hugging curves I didn't think I had. My stomach twisted with a mix of fear and excitement. But before I could protest, she was pulling it over my head, adjusting straps, smoothing the fabric. Then came the makeup. I had never worn more than a dab of lip balm in my life, yet she expertly applied foundation, blush, eyeliner, mascara, and lipstick. Each brush stroke felt alien, yet intoxicating. My face began to look different. Softer. Feminine. My hair, curled and brushed to perfection, framed my face like a completely new person. She stepped back, eyes gleaming. "You're perfect. My twin. Absolutely flawless." I barely recognized myself in the mirror. My jawline softened, my lips fuller, my eyes wider and expressive. My body felt strange, too, hips curved, chest pronounced, waist narrower. I tried to laugh, but the sound of my own voice, so melodic, high, unfamiliar, made me freeze. "Relax," my sister said, nudging me. "You look amazing. Just be yourself." The rest of the morning was a blur of shoes, jewelry, and accessories. Heels clicked as I practiced walking across the room, swaying awkwardly at first, then slowly gaining balance. I adjusted my posture, mimicking my sister's graceful movements, while she supervised with an amused, approving smile. Once I was fully dressed, I took a deep breath and looked in the mirror again. The person staring back was undeniably feminine, undeniably beautiful, undeniably me? My mind raced with disbelief. Is this really me? My sister clapped her hands. "Perfect. Now let's go out. The challenge isn't just to look like me, it's to act like me too. Twin Day starts now." The first challenge hit immediately. We stepped out into the street, and I could feel every eye on me. My sister laughed softly. "Relax, twin. You look amazing." But I couldn't relax. My steps were tentative, my voice soft and melodic, my hands constantly adjusting the dress. Every glance from strangers felt like scrutiny, every whisper amplified my fear. And yet, there was something intoxicating about it, something thrilling. The attention, the admiration, the undeniable shift in how people treated me, it was addictive. Lunch at a cafe was another trial. I struggled to navigate utensils gracefully, to sip my drink without spilling, to laugh without sounding awkward. My sister coached me quietly, whispering tips on gestures, expressions, and posture. I felt a strange mix of embarrassment and exhilaration. Each compliment I received made my cheeks flush and my heartbeat race. By mid-afternoon, I began to relax, just slightly. I found myself enjoying the attention, reveling in the way strangers smiled, the way compliments flowed effortlessly. For the first time, I glimpsed a side of myself I had never known, soft, delicate, undeniably feminine. Back at home, the private experimentation began. I tried on different outfits, tested makeup techniques, and practiced walking and talking like my sister. Each small experiment felt like discovering a hidden part of myself. I practiced voice modulation, learned subtle gestures, and explored expressions I had never dared to use. Heels became less intimidating, skirts swayed naturally with my steps, and my reflection in the mirror became more familiar. I caught myself smiling, genuinely enjoying the transformation, enjoying the power and femininity in being seen. And yet, fear lingered. Every outing, every interaction carried the risk of being recognized as me rather than her. My heart raced at the thought of judgment, ridicule, or exposure. But with each small victory, confidence blossomed, curiosity thrived, and empowerment grew. Weekend outings were the real test. Shopping trips, park walks, even a small dinner with friends became arenas for experimentation. The reactions were overwhelmingly positive: compliments, smiles, curiosity. I realized I was no longer just pretending to be her, I was discovering a part of myself I had never allowed to surface. One evening, as I walked through a busy street, I caught my reflection in a shop window. The person staring back, soft features, elegant posture, radiant confidence, was someone I could claim as my own. A rush of exhilaration and pride coursed through me. I whispered to myself, yes, this can be me. But growth always comes with challenges. During one outing, a familiar face from work spotted me and approached. My stomach flipped. Fear gripped me. Should I hide, explain, run? But I straightened my shoulders, lifted my chin, and smiled. Yes, I said softly. It's me. Their expression shifted from surprise to acceptance. No judgment. No ridicule. Only recognition, and even admiration. The relief was overwhelming. I realized that I didn't need to hide anymore. I could exist fully, unapologetically, beautifully. The final test was a social gathering, a small party where I had to fully embody my sister's persona. The dress was elegant, deep blue, heels perfect, makeup flawless. My heart pounded, but with each step, I felt alive, radiant, empowered. As I entered the room, eyes followed, cameras flashed, compliments flowed. I mingled, laughed, moved gracefully, fully inhabiting this new persona. The thrill of being seen, truly seen, was intoxicating. By the end of the night, I was exhausted but exhilarated. I had confronted fear, embraced vulnerability, and discovered empowerment in ways I had never imagined. My sister beamed. You did it, twin. You really did it. In the weeks that followed, life transformed completely. I carried my newfound confidence into everyday interactions, experimenting boldly with fashion, makeup, and self-expression. Friends and family noticed subtle changes: poise, radiance, joy. I realized the physical transformation had opened a door, but the real shift was internal. I had discovered courage, authenticity, and freedom. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see someone radiant, confident, unapologetically herself. That one bet, that one playful challenge, had unlocked a side of me I never knew existed. I had become not just my sister's twin for a day, but a version of myself I was proud to claim: bold, beautiful, and authentic. One day, one bet, one transformation, and everything changed. After the initial morning chaos, the real challenge began: navigating life as my sister's twin in public. At first, it felt utterly impossible. My reflection everywhere reminded me of the drastic transformation: the soft curves, the longer hair, the feminine sway of my hips. I was walking in heels, speaking in a voice that sounded delicate, melodic, and entirely unlike my usual tone. Every glance from strangers, every whispered comment, felt magnified. My stomach churned with anxiety, yet there was a strange thrill beneath the fear. The first test came during a trip to the local cafe. My sister held my hand lightly, guiding me, and whispered, "Just act natural. Smile, enjoy it." Natural? My every movement felt foreign. I fumbled with the door handle, tripped slightly on my heels, and when I sat, I became acutely aware of how my legs crossed differently now, how my posture demanded attention. "Wow, you look amazing," the barista said, handing me my drink. My cheeks burned, heart hammering. I mumbled a quiet thanks, my voice soft and airy. This is unreal, who am I right now? I felt like an imposter, yet at the same time, there was a rush, a kind of power I had never known. Returning home, I couldn't stop replaying the day in my mind. The way people looked at me, the way they responded, it was intoxicating. I knew I had to explore this further, but I also knew I needed privacy. The real work of transformation had to happen behind closed doors. That night, I locked myself in my room with my sister's wardrobe and makeup. I started small, experimenting with different dresses and outfits, testing how each fabric felt against my skin. Soft silks, flowing skirts, delicate lace, all of it sent shivers of excitement through me. I practiced walking in heels, feeling the sway of my hips, learning how to carry myself with elegance rather than awkwardness. Makeup became my next obsession. I watched tutorials for hours, learning how to contour my cheeks, highlight my eyes, and perfect my lips. At first, my hands shook with nervousness, every brushstroke felt like a test. But with time, I began to see patterns, techniques, and subtle movements that transformed my reflection from ordinary to strikingly feminine. I whispered to myself, "Is this really me?" The more I experimented, the more comfortable I became. I tried different hairstyles, curling my sister's hair and learning to braid it. I practiced speaking softly, laughing lightly, and even adjusting my gestures to mimic the subtle elegance I saw in her. Each small victory built confidence. By the end of the night, I caught my reflection and actually smiled at what I saw, a soft, radiant, and undeniably feminine version of myself. Curiosity quickly turned into adventure. I began testing the boundaries of public spaces, a short walk around the neighborhood, a trip to the convenience store, even a quiet cafe visit. At first, my steps were tentative, my voice cautious, my gestures self-conscious. But with each successful outing, a new sense of power and self-discovery emerged. Compliments, smiles, and casual interactions that I would have previously dismissed now reinforced that this persona could exist outside the safety of my bedroom. Even mundane tasks became thrilling: ordering a coffee, carrying groceries, interacting with strangers. Each time, my confidence grew incrementally. I realized that this identity wasn't just a costume, it was a side of me that had always existed, waiting for permission to emerge. Despite the excitement, fear lingered. Every outing carried the risk of recognition, judgment, or ridicule. My heartbeat raced at the thought of encountering someone who knew my old self. Yet, the thrill of exploration, the delicate balance between fear and exhilaration, drove me forward. I discovered the intoxicating freedom of self-expression and the joy of being seen in ways I had never imagined. By the end of the week, private experimentation had transformed into quiet mastery. Heels felt natural, skirts swayed just right, and makeup enhanced features I had never appreciated. I wasn't merely my sister's twin for a bit anymore, I was uncovering a version of myself I hadn't known existed. Each glance in the mirror, each step outside, and each whispered compliment brought me closer to embracing this new identity fully. By the second week, I had become bolder. The private experiments had built confidence, but real growth demanded stepping fully into the outside world. My sister orchestrated a small gathering with her friends, insisting that I attend as her twin. My heart raced at the thought. Strangers, acquaintances, and the occasional familiar face, every interaction felt like a high-stakes test. I spent hours preparing. A soft lavender dress hugged my new curves perfectly, heels clicked as I practiced walking, and my makeup was flawless, accentuating eyes that now seemed brighter and more expressive. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. This could really work, I whispered, swallowing the knot of anxiety in my throat. At the party, every glance was amplified. People smiled, complimented my dress, and interacted with me warmly. I laughed nervously at first, my voice soft and delicate, but gradually I began to relax. I noticed the subtle shifts, the sway of my hips when I walked, the gentle tilt of my head when I smiled, the playful gestures I had picked up from watching my sister. Each small interaction built confidence and reinforced that I could inhabit this identity fully. Then came the moment I dreaded: someone from my old life walked in. My stomach twisted, panic surged, and I froze mid-step. Should I hide? Should I explain? My sister squeezed my hand and whispered, "You can do this. Just be yourself." I took a deep breath, lifted my chin, and smiled. "It's me," I said, voice calm, melodic, confident. Their eyes widened in shock, then softened into admiration. "Wow, you look incredible," they said. Relief flooded me, and a rush of exhilaration followed. I realized that I didn't need to hide. I didn't need to apologize. I could exist fully, unapologetically, beautifully. That night became a turning point. I moved through the room with newfound poise, chatting effortlessly, laughing, and embracing attention with grace. Compliments flowed freely, and for the first time, I felt seen, not just as someone's twin or a novelty, but as my own radiant self. The weeks that followed were transformative. I navigated social settings with confidence, experimented boldly with fashion and makeup, and enjoyed the thrill of public validation. Small victories, walking down the street, ordering coffee, attending gatherings, reinforced the empowerment I had discovered in private. But the real change was internal. I realized that the physical transformation my sister had orchestrated had unlocked something far deeper: courage, authenticity, and self-expression. I had faced fear, embraced vulnerability, and found liberation in being fully myself. Returning home after a weekend outing, I looked in the mirror and smiled. The reflection staring back was no longer foreign. It was mine, soft, elegant, confident, and radiant. I had discovered a side of myself I never knew existed, a version I was proud to claim. One bet, One day, one playful challenge, had transformed me forever. My sister's mischievous game had led me to uncover my own courage, beauty, and authenticity. I had become not just a twin for a day, but someone entirely new, empowered, and free. From the nervous, unsure person who had laughed at her bet, to the confident, stunning woman I had become, I had learned the most important lesson. Transformation is not just about appearances. It's about discovering yourself, embracing courage, and daring to be unapologetically authentic. And as I stood there, heels firmly on the ground, dress flowing, and confidence radiating, I whispered to myself, this is me. Fully. Beautifully. Unapologetically me.